The night was quiet, almost too quiet. Streetlights flickered over empty roads, shadows moving like whispers in the dark. But in the heart of this silence stood a hero most people would never notice. Not a human, but a dog. A dog whose past was filled with struggle, fear, and abandonment. Once lost, once alone, he had been rescued, trained, and now he was ready to change everything. Tonight he was more than a police dog. He was a lifeline. His nose twitched, ears alert, muscles tense. Every heartbeat pulsed with instinct, every movement precise. Somewhere ahead, a criminal network thrived in the shadows, trafficking dangerous drugs that destroyed lives. But they didn't know the storm was coming. They didn't know that this dog, once small and helpless, could smell fear, track lies, and stop them in their tracks. One bark, one sudden move, and everything would unravel. Lives would be saved, justice would be served, and history would remember, not just the human officers, but the four-legged hero who refused to back down. This is not just a story about a dog. This is a story about courage, loyalty, and a hero that comes on four legs. The night was thick with tension. Streetlights flickered over empty roads, casting long shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. In the middle of the city, a police team prepared for an operation, their breaths visible in the cold air, their eyes scanning the darkness. But the real hero wasn't human. Standing alert beside his handler, muscles coiled, ears pricked, and nose twitching, was the police dog, a trained 9 whose instincts were sharper than any weapon. This dog had been trained for months, each drill pushing him beyond limits. Obstacle courses, obedience commands, scent detection exercises, he had mastered them all. But it wasn't just training that made him special. It was his intelligence, his courage, his unwavering loyalty. While others hesitated under pressure, he acted. He read subtle cues in the environment, sensed hidden dangers, and responded before any human could react. Tonight, the city's safety depended on him. The handler crouched beside him, whispering commands. The dog's eyes glimmered in the dim light, focused and calculating. A tip had come in about a major drug shipment moving through the city. Lives were at stake, and the criminals involved were dangerous. The handler patted his flank, a silent affirmation of trust. This was no ordinary mission, and this was no ordinary dog. As the team moved toward the target, the dog's senses were alive. Every sound, every scent, every movement was analyzed in milliseconds. He detected a faint chemical smell in the air, telltale sign of narcotics. His tail stiffened, ears twitching. He barked sharply once, a signal to the handler. The human officers nodded, understanding the warning. This was the moment where training met destiny. They approached the suspect vehicle slowly, tension building with every step. The driver's hands were fidgety, the eyes darting nervously. The dog sniffed around the vehicle, moving with precision, scanning for any hidden compartments. Suddenly, he paused. His body went rigid. He had found the scent, hidden deep within the car. One swift bark, and the handler knew exactly where to look. The team opened secret compartments, revealing a large cache of illegal drugs. Shock and relief mingled in the air. Lives that could have been destroyed by these substances were now safe. The criminals had no chance. The police dog had anticipated their every move. The mission was a success, and it was all because of him. An animal trained to serve, but more than that, a hero in every sense. Yet what made this dog truly remarkable wasn't just his skill in detecting crime. It was his courage under pressure. Bullets could have flown, threats could have escalated, and fear could have paralyzed the humans. But not him. He moved with confidence, precision, and an unwavering sense of duty. He was the silent protector, the guardian who risked everything without hesitation. As the criminals were taken away, the media would later report, "A police dog helps bust major drug network." But no headline could capture the bond between the dog and his handler, the silent courage that saved countless lives, or the countless nights of training that had shaped this hero. Tonight, as the city slept unaware, the police dog rested beside his handler, ears still twitching at every faint sound. He had fulfilled his mission, but he would always be ready. Danger could return at any moment, and when it did, he would be there, alert, fearless, and unstoppable. This was the beginning of his legend, not a story of a lost puppy, but of a trained police dog whose courage, intelligence, and loyalty made him more than just an animal. He was a hero, a guardian, a force to be reckoned with. And the city would never forget the night when one dog's instincts and bravery changed everything. The city's pulse quickened as night deepened. Somewhere in a dark alley, a shadowy network was preparing its next move. Dealers whispered, glances exchanged, and crates of illegal substances were being loaded into unmarked vehicles. They thought they were invisible, untouchable, operating in silence while the world slept, but they were wrong. Somewhere in the shadows, a silent guardian watched, every muscle coiled, every sense alert. The police dog moved alongside his handler, scanning the streets with precision. His paws were steady on the wet pavement, his nose quivering as scents layered over one another. A mix of rain-soaked asphalt, food, the faint odor of humans, and a hidden chemical trace that betrayed the criminal's plans. He had learned to separate these layers, to pick out the scent that mattered most. Tonight, that scent would lead to justice. The handler whispered commands under his breath. The dog responded instantly, ears twitching, tail low but rigid, muscles ready to spring into action. A truck approached, slow and deliberate, its windows tinted. The dog paused, sniffed, then barked sharply, a single, decisive alert. The handler crouched, signaling the officers. They moved in carefully, scanning the surroundings, guns low but ready. Every heartbeat was a countdown to confrontation. Inside the truck, the criminals were tense. One fumbled with a package, eyes darting nervously. He could feel, though not see, that something was wrong. Every instinct told him that tonight they were being watched. The dog had become more than a tool. He was an invisible force that could read fear, sense lies, and expose danger. The air was thick with suspense, every second stretching endlessly. The dog's nose led him to the back of the vehicle. His body went rigid, hackles rising slightly. The scent of the hidden narcotics was unmistakable. A low warning growl escaped him, soft enough not to alarm bystanders, but loud enough for the handler to take notice. With a precise command from his human partner, he moved closer, tail tense, eyes locked on the target. He didn't rush. Every movement was calculated, disciplined. A single misstep could ruin the operation, but he wouldn't allow it. Outside, the officers prepared to intervene. The criminals sensed something, panic creeping into their expressions. Their hands shook, breaths quickened. They had no idea that the dog had already analyzed their behavior, predicted their next move, and identified the precise locations of their hidden cargo. The tension was unbearable, each second pregnant with possibility and peril. Then the dog acted. A sharp bark, a decisive leap, and the truck's compartments were revealed. Officers rushed in as the criminals tried to escape, only to find themselves trapped by the coordinated effort of the team and the dog's guidance. Hidden packages of illegal drugs were seized, evidence secured. The criminals' plans crumbled in seconds. Every ounce of danger had been neutralized, all thanks to one remarkable animal whose instincts and training were unmatched. As the operation concluded, the police dog remained vigilant, scanning the perimeter, even as the criminals were detained. He didn't seek praise, didn't bask in the glory. His mission was clear: protect, detect, serve. And he had done that flawlessly. The city, unaware of the silent storm that had just passed, would wake to safety, oblivious to the heroism that had unfolded in the shadows. This night, the dog had proven once again that courage isn't measured by size or species. It's measured by action, instinct, and the unwavering commitment to do what is right. And in the heart of this mission, under flickering streetlights and shadowed alleys, the police dog had not only found the threat, he had neutralized it. He had reminded the world, quietly but powerfully, that the line between safety and danger is often crossed by those most underestimated, and that heroes can come on four legs. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets wet and reflective, turning the city into a maze of glistening shadows. The criminals thought they had escaped after the initial raid, but they had underestimated one thing: the relentless instincts of a police dog. Alert and unwavering, he led his handler through narrow alleys, abandoned warehouses, and dimly lit streets, his nose working overtime to track the fleeing suspects. Every sound, every scent, every vibration in the ground was a clue, and he followed them with unmatched precision. The handler stayed low, moving with caution, eyes scanning the surroundings. The dog darted ahead, weaving through obstacles with agility, nose to the ground, tail stiff, ears twitching at the faintest noise. He wasn't just chasing a scent. He was reading behavior, predicting moves, and calculating the most efficient path to intercept the criminals. Each step was deliberate, each pause calculated, a perfect blend of instinct and training. Behind a chain-link fence, the dog paused suddenly, hackles rising, sensing a false path set up by the criminals. They had hoped to lose the trail, leaving misleading scents to confuse the team, but he wasn't fooled. His eyes narrowed, sniffing deeper, picking out the faintest trace of the real scent. One decisive bark signaled his handler. They knew exactly which way to move. The chase had become a deadly game of cat and mouse, and the dog was always 2 steps ahead. The streets twisted and turned like a labyrinth. Garbage bins toppled over, stray cats scattered in terror, and puddles splashed as the team ran. The criminals were panicked, voices frantic, adrenaline coursing through their veins. But the dog moved with purpose. Fear didn't cloud his judgment. Training sharpened it. He bounded over low walls, slipped through narrow gaps, and never lost focus on the target. His breathing was steady, controlled, each paw placement precise. Suddenly, the dog detected movement across the rooftops. One criminal had tried to escape vertically, hoping to evade capture. With a soft growl of alert, he signaled the handler, who adjusted their approach. The team coordinated instantly, converging at the exact point the dog indicated. Within seconds, the criminal was cornered, hands raised, surprise and fear etched across his face. He hadn't expected a 4-legged tracker to anticipate every move. The other suspects weren't far behind. They sprinted toward a dark tunnel, thinking the shadows would hide them. But the dog's senses extended beyond sight. He picked up the faintest trail, weaving through the maze, barking sharply to signal direction. The officers followed, guided by his precision. One by one, the criminals were intercepted, surrendering as the inevitability of capture became clear. Every movement, every decision had been predicted, outsmarted by the dog's keen instincts. Even when the last suspect tried a desperate escape, the dog was there, fast, agile, and relentless. His presence alone forced compliance, his bark a warning that the chase was over. The criminals collapsed in exhaustion and fear, realizing that this operation had been orchestrated not just by human skill, but by the extraordinary instincts of a trained hero. As the team regrouped, the rain-soaked streets now calm again, the dog's ears twitched, still alert. His job was far from glamorous, but he had ensured the city's safety, and that was reward enough. He had tracked, chased, and cornered the criminals with precision, proving that courage and skill were not confined to humans. Every step of the pursuit had been a testament to his training, intelligence, and unwavering loyalty. Tonight, the chase had ended, but the legend of the police dog grew stronger. He had shown the world that vigilance, bravery, and instinct combined could outsmart the most cunning criminals. The city would sleep safely once again, unaware of the silent guardian who had hunted through the night, ensuring justice was served. Heroes don't always wear badges. Sometimes they have 4 legs, sharp senses, and an unbreakable spirit. The night air was thick with tension. Streets that had once seemed empty now echoed with hurried footsteps and frantic whispers. The criminals, desperate and cornered, had nowhere to run. Every turn they took, every alley they darted through, was being predicted and countered by the unwavering instincts of the police dog. He was not just a tracker. He was a force of precision, a guardian who understood danger as deeply as any seasoned officer. The handler moved quietly, trusting the dog completely. Every signal, every bark, every tense pause communicated volumes. Tonight, their partnership was flawless. The dog led the team to a nondescript warehouse at the edge of the city, the final hiding place for the illicit cargo. The smell of chemicals and fear hung thick in the air. The dog's tail stiffened, hackles rising. He could sense the hidden compartments, the subtle traces of narcotics, the nervous energy of the humans inside. The team surrounded the warehouse, weapons drawn, flashlights cutting through the darkness. The dog sniffed the entrance, moving slowly, methodically. He barked sharply once, an unmistakable alert to the handler. That was the signal. Officers breached the doors, finding the criminals scrambling to cover the evidence. But the dog had already identified the exact location of the concealed drug. His nose had guided the team with pinpoint accuracy, saving precious seconds and preventing potential danger. Crates were opened, revealing bundles of illegal substances stacked meticulously. Shock and disbelief registered on the criminals' faces. They hadn't anticipated a 4-legged hero who could outsmart every attempt at hiding the evidence. The dog stood firm, eyes scanning every corner, ears twitching at the slightest movement. Any sudden motion from the suspects was met with a growl, a warning that this operation was far from over. The criminals attempted a final desperate escape, but the dog was faster, anticipating each step. He intercepted one fleeing suspect, his bark sharp, commanding compliance. Officers quickly restrained the rest. Within minutes, the entire network was neutralized. The seizure was complete, arrests made, and lives that could have been ruined by these substances were now protected. As the dust settled, the dog remained vigilant, patrolling the perimeter, ensuring no threats remained. His gaze never wavered. Every sense was alert. Even in the quiet aftermath, he was ready for the next challenge. This was the essence of a true hero. Unceasing vigilance, courage under pressure, and unwavering loyalty. He didn't seek recognition. Every act was performed with silent dedication, a testament to his training and spirit. The media would later call it a miraculous bust. He had turned instinct into action, fear into control, and chaos into order. Tonight the city slept safer, oblivious to the battle that had just unfolded in its shadows. But those who had witnessed it, the handler, the officers, and anyone present, knew that justice had been delivered by the courage of one extraordinary animal. The police dog had proven that determination, skill, and instinct could achieve what few humans could. As dawn approached, the dog stood silently beside his handler, soaked from the night's rain, fur matted, eyes bright and alert. He had done his duty. And yet, he remained humble, silent, a guardian who worked in the shadows, shaping the course of justice one mission at a time. This night would be remembered, not for the chaos of crime, but for the heroism of a police dog who refused to back down. Heroes are not always human. Sometimes they come on four legs with eyes that see beyond fear, hearts that know loyalty, and courage that can change the fate of countless lives. And tonight, this dog had done exactly that. The first light of dawn crept slowly over the city, painting the streets in shades of gold and silver. The chaos of the previous night had faded, replaced by a calm that seemed almost surreal. Yet beneath the serenity, the impact of the mission remained palpable. The drugs network had been dismantled, criminals captured, and countless lives potentially saved. And at the heart of this victory stood a hero, unnoticed by most yet revered by those who knew the truth. The police dog. Beside his handler, the dog stood tall, ears alert, eyes scanning every movement. Despite the adrenaline of the chase, the tension of the capture, and the physical exertion of the mission, he remained composed. His body was covered in the grime of the night, fur wet from rain, but his spirit radiated unwavering strength. To any passerby, he was just a dog. To the officers, he was a symbol of courage, skill, and loyalty. As the team packed up, the handler knelt, gently patting him on the head. There was no need for words. Everything that had happened was understood in the silent bond between human and animal. This dog, trained to serve and protect, had gone beyond obedience. He had made split-second decisions, anticipated threats, and risked himself to safeguard the city. Every sniff, every bark, every tense movement had contributed to the mission's success. News of the bust began to circulate. Headlines praised the police operation, the officers' bravery, and the efficiency of the raid. But for those who had witnessed the mission up close, the true hero was clear. It was not the uniforms, the badges, or the flashing lights. It was the dog who had led, guided, and ensured the success of the operation. The silent protector who had navigated the darkness, detected the unseen, and brought justice to the surface. The city would move on, oblivious to the quiet heroism that had saved it. Yet, within the precinct, the dog was celebrated. Medals were awarded, stories were told, and the bond between the dog and his handler became the stuff of legend. Officers spoke of him with awe. Every action, every heroic act, was driven by instinct, training, and a deep understanding of duty. His past, the life of obedience, resilience, and discipline, had prepared him for this night. And yet it was not only skill that made him a hero, but his heart. The courage to act when it mattered most, the awareness of the stakes, and the loyalty to his team and city were what defined him. As the sun rose higher, illuminating the city streets, the dog walked calmly beside his handler. Children on the sidewalks paused to watch, unaware of the dangerous night that had just passed. Officers went about their duties, reassured that their city was safe. And the dog? He remained vigilant, alert to every sound, every scent, every subtle shift in the environment. His mission was never truly over. He was a guardian, always ready, always watching, always serving. This night, this mission would become part of a legacy, A reminder that courage and heroism do not always come in human form. Sometimes they come on four legs with eyes that perceive danger, instincts that anticipate crime, and hearts that act without hesitation. The police dog had proven that heroism is measured not by size or species, but by action, loyalty, and unwavering commitment to the greater good. And as the city awoke, safe and unaware, the dog trotted silently beside his handler, a quiet legend, a hero whose bravery would echo in the hearts of those who knew the truth. Heroes do not always wear badges. Sometimes they have fur, sharp instincts, and a spirit that refuses to back down. And tonight, this police dog had shown the world exactly what that meant.